Welcome back to the channel where we uncover the untold stories behind reality TV's most shocking scandals. Today we're diving deep into the dramatic and heartbreaking saga of 90 Day Fiancé star Luke Bryan and his ex-wife, Madelein Perez. This is a story filled with love, betrayal, hidden debts, courtroom battles, and a shocking twist that left fans stunned. For nearly 10 months, Madelein Perez had been secretly involved in a romantic relationship with a banker named Thomas. What began as a private affair slowly turned into a serious and deeply emotional romance. During this time, Thomas learned about Madelein's hidden financial struggles, a massive debt totaling $200,000 that she had kept secret from her husband. Thomas promised to take full responsibility for paying it off, offering her both financial relief and emotional support. As their bond grew stronger, Madelein and Thomas began spending more time together, often meeting in five-star hotels and luxury settings that reflected the depth of their relationship. Not long after, Madelein discovered she was pregnant. Medical tests later confirmed that the child she was carrying shared Thomas's DNA. When Luke Bryan learned the truth, he was devastated. The revelation caused intense emotional pain, leading to heated arguments and constant conflict between him and Madelein. Eventually, Madelein made her decision clear. She wanted to divorce Luke and marry Thomas instead. Unable to cope with the betrayal, Luke fell into deep despair and later attempted suicide. Following the separation, Luke accused Madelein of embezzling $150,000 from his personal savings and giving the money to Thomas. The case went to court, and after a lengthy legal battle, the court ruled that Luke's allegations were true. As a result, Madelein Perez was sentenced to 3 months in prison. Now, Luke Bryan has made a decision to move forward with his life. He has chosen to open his heart again and prepare for marriage, signaling a new chapter after unimaginable pain. Luke Bryan was no stranger to the spotlight. As one of the recognizable faces from 90 Day Fiancé, he had earned a reputation as a hopeful romantic who believed deeply in love. When he met Madelein Perez, fans believed they were witnessing a perfect match. Their chemistry was undeniable. Luke's calm and steady nature balanced Madelein's fiery and ambitious personality. Together, they appeared to be a couple destined to beat the odds. Their relationship began with whirlwind dates, public appearances, and social media posts that showcased a glamorous lifestyle. Luke frequently shared heartfelt messages, calling Madelein his forever. Madelein proudly displayed their relationship through luxury dinners, vacations, and picture-perfect moments. To fans, they represented passion, resilience, and romance. But behind the smiles and polished photos, cracks were already forming. Luke's devotion sometimes conflicted with Madelein's desire for more luxury, more recognition, and more financial security. Luke believed that love was built on trust and sacrifice, while Madelein increasingly wanted a life defined by wealth and comfort. What seemed like small differences at first would later become the fault lines that destroyed their marriage. In the early days, they were inseparable. They attended red carpet events together, gave interviews, and even hinted at starting a family. Fans adored them, and tabloids labeled them as a couple to watch. Luke truly believed he had found his soulmate, someone who would stand by him through fame and hardship alike. Outwardly, Madelein appeared just as committed. But while Luke was focused on building a future, a secret was quietly growing in the background. Madelein was stepping into a world of secrecy, temptation, and betrayal. At the center of it all was Thomas, a successful banker whose charm, wealth, and confidence pulled her into a dangerous double life. Thomas entered Madelein's life at a moment when she felt overwhelmed and trapped by debt. Beneath the glamorous image she showed the world, she was struggling in silence. To Thomas, her vulnerability became an opportunity. He didn't just offer affection, he offered rescue. By promising to erase her debt, he became a lifeline she felt she desperately needed. Their relationship intensified quickly. Secret phone calls turned into private meetings, and private meetings turned into nights spent together behind closed doors. They shared laughter, intimacy, and dreams of a future that no longer included Luke. Each rendezvous pulled Madelein further away from her marriage and deeper into Thomas's world of wealth and security. All the while, Luke remained unaware. He continued to post loving messages and present a united front to the public, believing his marriage was intact. To the outside world, Luke and Madelein were still the perfect couple. In reality, Madelein's loyalty had already shifted. The secrecy added excitement to the affair. Madelein convinced herself she deserved happiness after years of struggle. Thomas, meanwhile, enjoyed the influence he held over both her finances and her emotions. Together, they built a hidden world of luxury and deception. This was the turning point. What began as a strained marriage became a story of betrayal at its core. With Thomas's promises guiding her choices, Madelein was willing to risk everything, her marriage, her reputation, and her future, for the man who had become her secret obsession. The affair was no longer just a hidden romance. It had become the beginning of a storm that would destroy Luke Bry's life, shatter the illusion of a perfect marriage, and set the stage for one of the most shocking scandals in 90 Day Fiancé history. Behind the glamorous image Madelein Perez showed the world, trouble was quietly growing. To the public, she appeared to be the stylish wife of reality TV star Luke Bry, living a life filled with luxury, fame, and admiration. But behind closed doors, Madelein was suffocating under the weight of a $200,000 debt, a secret she had carefully hidden from her husband. Every smile she posted online and every red carpet appearance was a mask hiding the financial chaos threatening to overwhelm her. Thomas, the banker, became her escape. When Madelein finally opened up to him about her financial troubles, she expected criticism or rejection. Instead, Thomas responded with comfort and reassurance. He promised to take full responsibility for her debt and vowed to pay it off completely. For Madelein, this wasn't just about money. It was about feeling supported, understood, and rescued. In Thomas's arms, she found not only romance, but relief from a burden she had carried alone for so long. That promise became the foundation of their forbidden relationship. With every reassurance Thomas gave her, Madelein felt herself drifting further away from Luke. She no longer saw Thomas as just a lover. She began to see him as the man who could change her life. Their bond deepened through whispered phone calls and secret meetings in five-star hotels. To Madelein, Thomas represented freedom, freedom from debt, freedom from secrets, and freedom from a marriage that now felt suffocating. Meanwhile, Luke remained unaware. He noticed small changes in Madelein's behavior, late nights, unexplained absences, moments when she seemed distant. But he brushed them off, believing they were the result of stress, fame, or personal pressure. He had no idea his wife was living a double life, bound to another man by promises of financial rescue. Luke's trust, once his greatest strength, had become his greatest weakness. The hidden debt was more than a money problem. It was the beginning of betrayal. By keeping it from Luke, Madelein had already broken the trust holding their marriage together. By allowing Thomas to step in as her savior, she formed a bond stronger than the vows she had made to her husband. Every dollar Thomas promised to pay pushed her further away from Luke and closer to the collapse of their marriage. This chapter revealed how dangerous the mix of love and money can be. Madelein's desperation for financial freedom led her into Thomas's arms, and his willingness to carry her debt turned their affair into something much deeper. It was no longer just about romance. It was about survival, loyalty, and the power of promises. Luke Bry still didn't know the truth. But the cracks in Madelein's double life were growing wider, and the secrets she buried were about to come crashing into the open with devastating consequences. The affair between Madelein Perez and Thomas was no longer brief or hidden. It had become a lifestyle built on secrecy, indulgence, and betrayal. While Luke believed his marriage was strong, Madelein was slipping away into nights of luxury with the man who promised her freedom. Thomas spared no expense. Five-star hotels became their private escape, places where they could hide from the world and from Luke. Behind closed doors, surrounded by chandeliers and plush interiors, they created a world that belonged only to them. Champagne flowed freely. Candlelit dinners lasted deep into the night. Whispered promises filled the air. Every night they spent together made it harder for Madelein to imagine returning to her life with Luke. For Madelein, these moments were intoxicating. She felt desired, protected, and free in ways she hadn't felt before. Thomas wasn't just a lover. He was a provider, someone who had stepped in when she felt trapped and overwhelmed. Every luxury stay reinforced the belief that she had chosen a new path, even if it meant betraying the vows she once made. Luke, meanwhile, stayed in the dark. He noticed her frequent absences and vague excuses, but his trust never wavered. He told himself she needed space or was focused on her ambitions. He had no idea that while he waited at home, his wife was living a life that no longer included him. The secrecy only intensified the affair. Madelein felt a thrill in hiding the truth, convincing herself she deserved happiness after years of struggle. Thomas enjoyed the power he held, not only over her finances but over her emotions. Together, they built a private world of luxury and deception, one Luke would only discover when it was far too late. But indulgence always comes with consequences. Every hotel night was another step away from Luke and another crack in the foundation of their marriage. This was no longer just about desire. It was about escape and rewriting the future. As their bond grew stronger, the storm waiting for Luke grew darker. This was the turning point. Madelein was no longer torn between two lives. She had made her choice, and soon the consequences would come crashing down, changing Luke's life forever. The affair between Madeleine Perez and Thomas had already crossed every boundary of trust and loyalty. But nothing could have prepared Luke or the public for what came next. At IT began quietly. Madeleine started noticing changes in her body. At first, she blamed stress and exhaustion, but soon, the truth became impossible to ignore. A doctor's visit confirmed what she both feared and secretly hoped for. She was pregnant. The news alone was life-changing. But the real devastation came with the test results. The child she was carrying was not Luke's. It was Thomas's. For Madeleine, the truth was terrifying and freeing at the same time. Terrifying because her secret affair could no longer stay hidden, and liberating because it meant there was no turning back. The news of her pregnancy changed everything. For Madeleine, it was a mix of fear and exhilaration. She knew she could no longer hide her secret. Every choice she had made, the late nights, the luxurious getaways, the whispered promises, had led to this moment. Thomas was not just her lover anymore. He was the father of her child, the man who had replaced the life she once shared with Luke. Luke, meanwhile, remained unaware of the growing storm. He continued to believe in the love he shared with Madeleine, posting messages online that celebrated their life together. He believed in her honesty, in the bond they had built, and in the future they had planned. But in truth, his world was crumbling silently, piece by piece, behind his back. As Madeleine's pregnancy became undeniable, her relationship with Thomas only deepened. They continued to meet in secret, escaping the scrutiny of fans, friends, and the press. Five-star hotels became their private haven. Candlelit dinners stretched into the early hours. Champagne flowed freely. Laughter echoed in luxurious suites, and whispered promises of a future together filled the air. Every night they spent together solidified the bond between them. Every act of indulgence, every stolen moment, pulled Madeleine further away from Luke and closer to Thomas. Luke began to notice subtle shifts in Madeleine's behavior. She seemed distant, distracted, and emotionally unavailable at times. She had excuses for everything: late nights, missed calls, sudden business meetings. Luke, ever trusting, attributed these changes to stress, fame, and her personal ambitions. He never imagined that his wife was living a double life, wrapped in the arms of another man while keeping the pretense of a happy marriage. The $200,000 debt that Madeleine had hidden was more than just money. It was the crack in their relationship that allowed Thomas to enter and dominate her life. Each dollar Thomas promised to pay strengthened the secret bond they shared. For Madeleine, Thomas became not just a lover, but a savior, a provider, and the person who could give her the life she had always dreamed of. Luke, by contrast, represented the past, the obligations, and the honesty she now found burdensome. As months passed, Madeleine's attachment to Thomas grew. She confided in him, trusted him, and relied on him for support in ways she had never done with Luke. The secrecy and indulgence of their meetings added a thrilling intensity to their relationship. The risk of being caught only strengthened the allure. Madeleine began to rationalize her choices, convincing herself that she deserved happiness after years of struggle and sacrifice. Thomas, meanwhile, enjoyed the power and control he had over her life, finances, and emotions. For Luke, life continued as normal, or so he thought. He remained devoted, planning events, posting online, and dreaming of a future with Madelein. Each loving post, each declaration of faith in their marriage, contrasted sharply with the secret life his wife was leading. Luke's devotion, which had once been the cornerstone of their relationship, became a vulnerability that Madelein was quietly exploiting. Then came the moment that would shatter everything, the confirmation of her pregnancy. Madelein had feared and hoped for this moment, and the doctor's visit revealed the truth that would change all lives. She was carrying Thomas's child, not Luke's. For her, it was terrifying because the affair could no longer remain hidden. Yet it was liberating too, because it made her decision irreversible. When the truth finally came to light, Luke's world collapsed. He was confronted with betrayal on every level, emotional, financial, and now parental. The man he had trusted and shared his life with had replaced him in every way that mattered. The arguments were intense and frequent, their marriage crumbling under the weight of deception. Luke was overwhelmed with heartbreak, confusion, and anger. The woman he had loved and believed in had chosen another man over him, and he could barely comprehend the speed and depth of her betrayal. In the aftermath, Madelein filed for divorce. Her intentions were clear. She no longer wanted a life with Luke, only with Thomas. The emotional devastation for Luke was immense. Unable to bear the betrayal, he fell into a deep depression and even attempted to take his own life. It was a moment that revealed how profoundly this affair had affected him. Soon after, Luke discovered another shocking betrayal. He realized that $150,000 of his personal savings had been secretly transferred, allegedly to help Thomas financially. The realization that Madelein had not only betrayed him emotionally, but had also taken a significant portion of his money fueled the anger, despair, and sense of injustice he felt. Luke decided to take legal action. The case went to court, and the hearings were intense. Evidence was presented showing the embezzlement and Madelein's role in facilitating the transfer of funds to Thomas. After a long and difficult legal process, the court ruled in favor of Luke, confirming that Madelein had indeed embezzled $150,000 from him. As a result, she was sentenced to 3 months in prison. This legal victory, while significant, did not erase the pain or betrayal. Luke had lost his marriage, the woman he loved, and the trust he had in people close to him. Yet, even in the darkest moments, he made the choice to rise again. He decided to move forward, rebuild his life, and open his heart to love once more. The story of Luke Bry's marriage is a story of heartbreak, deception, and survival, a cautionary tale of trust, temptation, and the consequences of hidden secrets. Meanwhile, Madelein's relationship with Thomas continued to dominate her life. Their affair had evolved into a lifestyle built on secrecy, indulgence, and a shared escape from reality. Luxury hotels, expensive dinners, and clandestine trips created a world separate from the one she had shared with Luke. Each act of indulgence reinforced her choice and made it nearly impossible to return to her past life. But indulgence and secrecy always carry consequences. Each hidden meeting, each financial transaction, and each act of betrayal widened the gap between Madelein and her past. The more she indulged in her new life, the more irreversible her choices became. And for Luke, the betrayal was complete, leaving him to pick up the pieces of a life that had been shattered. In the end, this story is more than just a tale of infidelity. It is a story about the dangerous intersection of love, money, and trust. Madelein Perez's desperation for financial freedom and Thomas's willingness to provide it transformed a secret romance into a life-altering betrayal. Luke Bry, a man known for his hope and faith in love, had his world turned upside down. Despite all the pain, Luke's story does not end in defeat. He chose resilience, courage, and the possibility of new beginnings. His journey reminds us that even after betrayal and heartbreak, it is possible to rise again, rebuild, and find hope. This saga of Luke Bry, Madelein Perez, and Thomas is a story of trust broken, secrets revealed, and lives changed forever. It is a cautionary tale about the choices we make, the risks of deception, and the strength required to recover from betrayal. Luke's life was forever altered, but his courage to move forward serves as a testament to human resilience and the possibility of redemption after even the deepest heartbreak.